Hi everyone, I'm Kerry Cradit. I'm a practitioner here at the Nutritional Healing Center of Ann Arbor. We're going to talk tonight about a topic that is, I was going to say dear to me, but it's not really dear to me, parasites. You may learn too much information about me tonight, but I share some of my parasite horror stories because I feel like we all have this immune challenge in us. Most of us have this immune challenge in us. And I choose to not be afraid of things. I choose to just face it head on and get rid of it. So better out than in with these little buggers. And we'll talk about them a little bit, ways you can help get rid of parasites and also kind of symptoms that are associated with them. And if you have any questions, we'll try to address those as we go too. All right, so like I said, I'm a practitioner here. I've been here about 11 years. I started as Dr. Schmidt's assistant. Way back when, worked my way up and started to be a practitioner myself. So I kind of have had good experience with these things across the years and seeing patients come in and bringing us samples and things. We state emphatically we don't need to see any parasites. We don't want pictures. We don't need to see them. You can tell us about them, but we don't need to see them. So that's kind of our policy around here. So parasites, we'll talk about these. So there are many, many types of parasites, probably thousands. The medical community might only test for 100 or 200. I don't know exactly the number that medicine would test for, but there are literally thousands of different types of parasites. Tapeworms do exist in human populations. So a tapeworm, when passed in a stool, would look more like a fettuccine noodle or a spaghetti noodle, things like this. Sometimes you see it in broken pieces if you're working on parasites with a parasite program, but sometimes literally people will pass what looks like a noodle when they have not eaten any noodles anytime recently. So there are tapeworm variety, there are hookworm, a little bit smaller variety, roundworms, flukes. A fluke, I don't know if I don't have a little thing to draw with up here. It looks kind of like diamond shape. They tend to hang out in the liver and the lungs. So flukes will look, are you giving me a marker? I'm going to draw it on the board what a fluke would kind of look like. I'm running out of the picture. I'm back. All right. So a fluke, this one I know because I saw some of these in myself, might look a little more like that. It almost looks like it has a little rudimentary backbone. It almost looks a little jellyfishy because it can look clear. Sometimes it's not that big when it comes out. Usually it's not to size necessarily. But these do, like I said, like to hang out in the liver and lungs. I'll tell you my story about these. I might as well. I told you I'd give you a disclosure. So there was a time several winters ago, I kept coughing a lot, and it would seem like I was coughing up a mucus. So one day I was outside of work, coughed up this mucus, spit it in my coffee cup, went into work. So came in, worked all day, did what I was doing, went back out to my car at night, and because the coffee cup was out in the cold, this phlegm ball, so to speak, that I had spit out, I can't believe I'm on Facebook Live talking about this. It had kind of adhered to the bottom of my cup, and it almost looked like a slide, like like you would get a slide under a microscope. And so it was real flat. It had flattened out, and it was in the bottom of my cup. And I thought, oh my, that is not phlegm. That is a fluke. It had flattened. It looked exactly like that. So I encourage people, if you are coughing up phlegm, spit it out. Don't swallow it. That's how these flukes move and migrate. They will crawl up your trachea or esophagus. They'll kind of migrate from the lungs. They'll crawl up. You kind of cough, and if you swallow, you have now just put it back into your GI tract. They migrate to the liver and they migrate around. So you should spit out your phlegm that you cough up. But that is what a fluke could potentially look like. I am happy to say that I am pretty much done coughing those up. I coughed those type things up for a really long time, like 2 years, a long time. So we were working on them with supplements in the office. I was working with my practitioner. We worked on them hard, and I still was coughing them up the whole time. So it's a process with these parasites. So sorry about the fluke story. Thread worms. This can look like a tangle of thread passing in the stool. So sometimes it literally looks like, if you've ever been in the vet and seen the pictures of what heartworm looks like in a dog, it looks similar to that. People have passed these kind of balls of what looks like thread, or tangles of small, thinner worms will be thread worms. And then there are many, many microscopic types that you don't have the pleasure of viewing, which is delightful. So it's good to pass these things. Sometimes there is some initial shock with it. I definitely had shock with everything I passed, but I got over it as I was appreciating that it was way better out than in too. So it's there's an initial grossness factor when we might tell you have parasites. There's initial grossness when you see it. Sometimes you don't have to look. People always ask that, do I have to look? No, you do not have to look, but they're there, they exist, so don't be afraid. So we, with nutrition response testing or muscle testing, can find more parasites sometimes than the medical model, because we're not only testing for certain kinds, we're testing for the energy of them. So if you're a patient, we have test kits, we're looking for the energy of different types of these immune challenges. So this is how we test. We're not looking in the stool, we're not doing blood samples for it. That's how the nutrition response testing can help find more and different varieties of them. So we push on arms. Most of you here are probably familiar. If you're not, I can kind of demonstrate it at the end for you. But that's how we find the things that we find with muscle testing. So how do we get them? It's a question that most people ask. We get them from foods we eat. So it can be on vegetables. They can be on fruit. They're in fish. Parasites can be, any food we eat. Meat, vegetables, they could all have parasites. Living with pets. So oftentimes our pets have parasites. We can certainly get them as well. We sleep in bed with our pets sometimes, so they're in our proximity. No, some people don't. That's good. People are feeding them, touching them, changing litter on cats. Those are ways we can come in contact with our pets' parasites too. Walking in sand and dirt. You can go to a beach and there can be parasites in the sand, and if your immune system isn't doing what it should be doing, they can even get in through the feet. They don't have to go in through your mouth. There's ways for them to get in the body through other avenues too. Lakes, streams, oceans, pools. I got swimmer's itch as a kid in Leelanau from goose and duck poop. Came out of the water itching horribly, and it ended up with what is called swimmer's itch. So I think that was definitely one of my parasite experiences that I can remember from my youth, where I got these, this exposure from swimming in a lake. So lots of these things we can just get from living on planet Earth, I would say. Human contact too. You see a lot of pinworms spread in daycare. So, kids are in daycare, little bit less than optimum hand washing, then they're spreading it to other kids too. So the smaller type varieties of parasites can be spread easily with some human contact as well. So basically we can get them very easily. It's just a bug is a bug is a bug is what I tell people. You just have to make your immune system do better. So like I said, I choose to not think of them any much differently than other immune challenges. You just got to boost the immune system, and then we get rid of these. They're a little more tenacious sometimes than other bugs, and a little grosser if you want to speak to it, but still possible to get rid of. In a lot of other cultures, there is regular parasite cleansing done. So 2 times a year, people might take a bunch of things, herbs, or eat specific foods that are parasite cleansing. In the U.S., when I started working here 11 years ago, I heard about parasites very commonly in this office. Prior to that, I didn't really hear about them. I didn't hear about them when I worked in the hospital. I didn't hear about them in school very much, other than, maybe Giardia, a little bit of stuff, that you would learn in school in the medical model. But I didn't really understand them fully until I started in a more nutritional realm. They certainly exist. It's just a matter of being able to, root them out, and they don't only exist in other countries. So oftentimes when people exhibit parasite symptoms and they go to the doctor might say, have you been out of the country? Well, no, but you could still have parasites because they do cross borders too. So if we know that we can get them in this country too. So there are foods that definitely prevent infestation, that help the gut. Hot peppers, turmeric, wasabi, these spicy foods help to keep the gut not getting parasites stuck in there. So, and there's some other things we'll talk about too. So the goal, because this often gets talked about too, like how do we get rid of them? How do we keep them gone? The goal, a healthy digestive system and a healthy immune system so that you don't get them in the first place, and then adequate stomach acid so that they don't get a chance to infiltrate and get stuck in your tissue. Bowels in good working order, meaning 1, 2, 3 bowel movements per day, food in, food out. An excellent diet that is not having a lot of sugar, not having a lot of grains, not having a lot of dairy, lots of good veggies, lots of good fats, and proper hand washing is another way we can keep them at bay. So we'll talk about some symptoms. I know this is really small up here. I don't know if you can see it really on yours, so I'll try to highlight these for you. Some symptoms associated with parasites, they often give people headaches. There's a couple different reasons for this. Parasites seem to very much affect the pituitary, a gland up in the head. So there's parasites have their own hormones. They kind of look like our hormones. So sometimes our hormonal organs start to get confused by the extra hormones that parasites might have. Pituitary gland in general can be, or specifically can be, very much impacted by them. And when the pituitary is inflamed, it can give headaches, migraines, things like that. They definitely can affect the sinuses too. So sometimes the headache more presents as a sinus headache, but headaches can be a common parasite symptom. Another thing that parasites do, they deplete B vitamin status in the body. So when your B vitamins are depleted, then headaches can be a factor too. The headaches, B vitamins help feed the nerves. So sometimes you get nerve pain, circulatory symptoms from parasites because of the B vitamin depletion. Floaters in the vision is a common parasite symptom. So when people say, I see floaters, when I look at the light or when I look at the wall, I can see floaters in my vision. Yes, sometimes that is some macular degeneration, sometimes that's other things, but parasites are notorious for giving that symptom as well. Teeth grinding, clenching, and jaw tightness. Parasites hang out in the mastoid sinuses a lot, and they really like this area because there's food for them. So they can hang out here, get stuck in that tissue, and then they give a lot of like clenching and teeth grinding symptoms too. You see it a lot in kids. Kids are like clenching their teeth, grinding their teeth, and it'll present as parasites when we check them. I don't know if I have it on here, so I'll talk about it now, because in kids we see this a lot too. Nighttime urination, like wetting the bed in kids, is a lot of times parasites. That's a factor for, especially when they're wetting the bed longer than kind of what would be considered normal, because they can affect the kidneys as well. Parasites have their own toxins that they're excreting too, so then our bodies have to do more to excrete those parasite toxins as well as our own toxins too, so then our kidneys get impacted. So I don't know if I had that on there, but nighttime urination, wetting the bed, very much a factor, and kidney bladder symptoms too. Dizziness, again, because they can affect the brain, the nerves of the brain, so people will get dizzy with parasites. Definitely mood problems. Again, this goes back to B vitamin status, so depression, anxiety, these things can be associated with parasites very much. Low energy, because they are affecting the immune system, but also again, B vitamins. This is Dr. Schmidt's lactic acidosis information. If you haven't heard about that, you can check that out on YouTube. But that the B vitamin status being very important here, again, for that. Congestion, coughs, any kind of lung issues, especially if it's flukes, but they're going to be a factor for the immune system. And wherever someone might have a weakness is potentially where they could be a factor. Certainly, they are a factor for the bowel, so any type bowel symptom can be related to parasites. Constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, intestinal upset of any kind, and sometimes it alternates. So we don't use symptoms to help you discover the cause of what's going on. That's because they could be varied symptoms. We kind of try to figure out what's actually going on with the body with the testing. Weight gain or loss, same thing here. People can gain weight from parasites because they're, kind of doing things to the bowel, obstructing the way the body's digesting. People can lose weight. So we've seen that go both ways. Pain in the digestive tract, pain in joints sometimes, the headache pain we already talked about. So pain, inflammation from them, anemia, because they're kind of stealing sometimes some of our blood. Especially if they're in the GI tract, sometimes they're attached and they could be, kind of stealing some blood. Hemorrhoids, varicose veins that are in the GI tract type things, that is definitely, it can be other things too, a parasite symptom. So sometimes you'll get bleeding from those things, and that can cause the anemia too. And they make you crave sugar, because that is what feeds them especially. So they will make you crave sugar, and that's another part of their symptom picture. This is the better part, how we get rid of them. This is the part I like better. So we are learning more and more about ways to make the body stronger, ways to support the body. I'm going to start at that end of some of these supplements. We'll talk about these. So, I'll start here. Wormwood or Artemisia. So we have a product company line, MetaHerb. They make a wormwood complex. They make another product now called artemisinin. These are products that are very anti-parasitic, very good for the gut, very antimicrobial across the board. Nice and strong. We use these with very good success. I will say it is often good to take combinations of anything that we talk about for parasites, and sometimes it's good to alternate. You kill with one thing for a while, then you might repopulate with some good probiotics for a while, and then you kill again with something else. It's good to vary the herbs or supplements that you're using as these killers, because they can morph and change, and sometimes you'll kill some things that are sensitive to one thing like oregano, but some of the things that weren't sensitive to that can still be alive, so you kill in cycles a little bit. Garlic, I didn't bring that out. Garlic is nicely antimicrobial. Garlic helps with the drainage pathways, so whenever we're killing any bugs in the body, we want them drained out. So garlic is one of those, I call it a drainage type supplement to help get the body eliminating better. Kidneys respond well to it, heart responds well to garlic, but antimicrobial too. Oregano, the one that we really like, and we have several different oregano products, but we love ADP. So ADP is from a company line called Biotics. It's a nice, strong oregano. It is not really coated with any kind of heavy coating, so it does open a little higher in the GI tract. Works on other microbes too, like fungus and yeast and things like that, but opens a little higher. We have another product called Gut Flora that's heavily enterically coated. It opens a little deeper in the GI tract, so then you're killing a little bit deeper too. So we have lots of different oregano type products that are boosting to the immune system. Black walnut is antimicrobial and helps the immune system with parasites too. Grapefruit seed extract I didn't bring that out either. It's an excellent antimicrobial supplement, very gentle. So sometimes when I'm working with kids and using more gentle products with people, the grapefruit seed extract fits nicely. Like I said, combinations of the above. And then I brought another couple out that we didn't talk about. WO oil. This is called China Healing Oil. Systemic Formulas makes this product. This is an excellent antimicrobial that you can put into a capsule to get deeper into the GI tract. It can also be used topically on things like ringworm or, topical skin issues. Toenail fungus responds really well to WO oil. So a great way to, again, boost the immune system and kill the microbes, kill the bugs. This is a newer product in our office, Para 1 from Cellcore. We are having excellent success with this product. There is another product too called Para 2 that is currently not in stock in this office. It's on back order, but we love that one too. It's a blend of a lot of different herbs. This is more of a bowel cleanser is what I would describe it as. It is a very sticky supplement, so it will actually adhere to the plaquing, the mucoid plaquing that's in the GI tract. It will kind of adhere to it and pull it out. So people are passing some unusual and cool, in my opinion, things with the Para 1. Again, not that we want to see it, but cool things are happening with that. A really nice, powerful supplement. So we've really enjoyed working with this product line, and are excited to get Para 2 back in the office too. But that's been a great one now that we've got some more tools. We're always looking for more tools to help the immune system with these little buggers. There are foods you can eat that are anti-parasitic too, so just things you can consume. We'll just go through this kind of quick because you got it on your list. Pomegranates, psyllium husks, anything that will kind of like, think of it like a broom, kind of sweep out the intestine, will dislodge the things that aren't adhered too tightly. Pumpkin seeds, similar fashion. Papaya, that kind of has the digestive enzyme quality to it, so it can kind of get through mucus and help to digest things a little bit better in the gut. Flax seeds, again, that kind of scrubbing philosophy. Beets, really helpful to the liver gallbladder, so a bit of a more drainage type thing that boosts the immune system. Pineapple, onions and garlic, kelp, cabbage, oregano, so just things you can consume. The thing with foods is it's hard to consume enough to kill a parasite with the food. You usually need an herb. You usually need a supplement. You got to boost it somehow. These are great and you can eat them and they're very healthy, but it's, to really get at a stronger immune problem here, you probably want to do something supplemental. The full moon. So when I first came to this office, it was not a normal statement to me that somebody would say, oh, that was the full moon that caused that, or Mercury was in retrograde and that caused that. But I'd had it said to me before and I didn't really understand it until I started working here. Immune challenges and animals on planet Earth cycle with the moon phases. They cycle with the planet. They cycle with the tides. So full moons mean bugs are more active, and certain moons, they're even more active. So like the spring moons, they call, I think it's the April or May moon was the worm moon. So these immune challengers are much more active when it comes to full moon times. So when I've been seeing patients for a while, sometimes they'll come in the office and they'll say, oh, this full moon, it wasn't so bad. Because they know that their symptoms sometimes correlate or ebb and flare up with moon cycles sometimes. And as we get further and further along and the immune system is doing better, the moon will not be such a big factor. But sometimes they'll come in and say, oh, I felt so bad and I had this cold and it came last week. And then they look at the calendar and it was the full moon. And so you see these patterns sometimes that go with the moon. And it can be other bugs too, not just parasites. So just because you felt sick on a full moon day doesn't necessarily mean it's parasites, but it is one of the bugs that really tend to flare up with it. How to clean for preventing pathogens. I have the doTERRA product line up here. We love Young Living oils too. So the essential oils can be very antimicrobial. They're a nice way to clean. So tea tree, oregano, On Guard from doTERRA, or Thieves from Young Living. If you're a Young Living lover, I love Thieves from Young Living, are nicely antimicrobial. So those can be used to clean countertops, houses, They can, most of these, if you know, depending on your product line, can be taken internally too. So you'd want to, if you're going to do essential oils, check your bottles, check your company, make sure it could be done internally if you were going to do it. But mostly, you know, these are great for cleaning and using around your house. You can put it in your laundry. Washing fruits and vegetables in a lemon oil to get anything off of those. So I'll, you know, throw my lettuce in a big bowl with water, put a few drops of lemon oil in there, shake that all around for a couple minutes, then rinse it off. That's, you know, a nice antimicrobial for the veggies. Wash bedding, towels, underwear in hot water, dry with high heat. And again, you can put these oils in there too, just to make sure you're killing any eggs, larvae, things like that on the bedding too. This is a very general food list. We have evolved so much here in this office with the food information we give people that I feel like the day for this list has passed. It's a good reference, which is why I left it in, because it just gives you an idea. There are some foods that you should just straight out try to avoid. So I like to kind of start at that end. Number one, because it's the shortest list. People always say, but what could I eat? And I say, look, this side. There's more on this side than that side. Don't worry about that. So avoiding white refined sugar, artificial sweeteners, aspartame, NutraSweet, the true artificial sweeteners. I'm not talking about stevia or the sweet alternatives. I mean truly artificial sweeteners. Fruit juice is not much different than soda. So I do tell people avoid fruit juice. If you needed something, you know, you can do a splash of something and add some water to it for children, things like that. But just fruit juice across the board, try to avoid that. Soy we consider a not healthy food. Canola oil and margarine not healthy. So then we move into the things that are maybes, because some people are sensitive to some of the things on the maybe list. So dairy, some people might be fine with it, others might have to avoid. Honey, while it is a natural sugar and most people do well with it, it is still sugar. So if someone's diabetic or really having sugar handling problems, they might even have to be careful with honey and fruit and things like that. So that's why some of those things are on the maybe list. And then you move into just plain old good choices. And I tell people best quality you can find and afford. So if you're somewhere and your only option is boar's head salami, then, you know, that's your option. That's where you are. That's what you could get that's better maybe than a drive-through. So it's, you know, best quality of things you can find and afford. I'm going to try to get nitrate free. I'm going to try to get Applegate. I'm going to try to get my lunch meats where they're, you know, no hormones, no nitrates, things like that. But so best quality you can find and afford, and some days that's going to be better than others. So I don't think we need to go through the whole big food list right now. If you have more specific questions about food, I can address those, but I just kind of wanted to tell you about that list a little bit. I will say for our Facebook audience, we're going to sign off. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions for us, you can email us at intake@thenhcaa.com. We appreciate you watching. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and share, and we'll see you again soon.